the gear and skill in the world won't help you if you don't know the fight mechanics. Read up on the fight and watch a video or two before the raid. Use Berserk ASAP unless there's a time in the fight when the boss takes extra damage. Cower, the feral threat reduction skill, only lowers your threat by a flat 2432, which is a silly low number, less than the average white auto attack. It doesn't scale at all, which means as everyone's gear gets better, it just gets worse. You're better off just pulling out to save energy, since in the GCD that you use Cower, you will also auto attack, immediately negating the threat reduction. This is where ads become important. Go attack some ads whenever you can if you know threat will be an issue. For groups of 3 or more, you want to keep SR up and swipe away. But if they die too quickly, just concentrate on keeping SR up and maybe look for someone to innervate or battle rest. It's entirely possible for feral DPSers to be top on threat, but behind, especially rogues in damage, even with equivalent gear and skill, especially early on in a fight. If you know this will be an issue, plan accordingly and ask for vigilance or hand of salve or just back off. Make sure hunters are misdirecting and the rogues use tricks of the trade on the tank. Watch out for the blood DK might try to get you to pull aggro by giving you hysteria, even when you don't ask for it. Time away from boss is time best spent glancing at your raid frames to see who's out of mana and who's the likely target for a battle rest, generally dead healers or top DPS players. Your raid members will have to be coaxed into asking for early innervates. If you don't use innervate on a progression fight, you've wasted a significant amount of class synergy, and always try to innervate a battle rest mana user, though they will usually pop a potion or cooldown right after getting battle rest. For this I have grid set up to put a purple dot on whoever is below 40% mana.
Help you I can, yes!
Pop a potion of speed as close as possible to, but still before, entering combat. 1. FFF unless a boomkin will apply IFF in the first second and keep it up. 2. Mangle. 3. SR, and from now on, if clear cast, then shred. 4. Rake. 5. Immediately targets Fury, but you must press the button after the rake. 6. Berserk. This immediately drops the TF buff, but it's more important to get Berserk on cooldown ASAP. 7. Continue with the regular DPS priority algorithm as described earlier. The Predator's swiftness buff now allows us to instantly battle rest someone. Make sure Rebirth is easily accessible somewhere not on your primary action bar, as you need to be able to just press the hotkey without having to shift out first. Cyclone, Roots, Abolish Poison, Remove Curse, Max Healing Touch, and Innervate should ideally also have buttons not on your form-specific action bar. But with a massive amount of different skills a feral druid has to keep track of, this is easier said than done. No one likes a UI that's so cluttered that you can only see a small portion of what's going on. Watch the UI tutorials made by Daniel Moy and then decide how you'd prefer to deal with this issue. His UI philosophy translates very well to a feral DPS PvE environment. I like to keep my patch day mayhem to a minimum and the most important information within a short radius of where my eyes are usually focused on the screen. That is, positioning, situational awareness, boss fight event timers, player HP mana, target HP, buff debuff timers, cooldowns, battle rest targets, and innervate targets. Scrolling combat text is a good tool, but if you like to keep your number of add-ons to a minimum, you'll find it useful to only display the information you really want, or your screen will just become a cascading waterfall of green text. If you want to be successful at feral DPS, you will have to learn how to use macros. This will use Berserk, notify my regular blood DK, activate my engineering hand tinker, and maybe have a little fun at the same time. This macro gets more fun the longer the fight, and really brings out the graphics on Onyxia's Deep Throat ability. This will start auto-attacking if I don't have enough energy to mangle, and has a modifier to use an engineering tinker. All your non-stealth, direct damage melee hotkeys should have a start attack in them. This will pounce if in stealth, or rake if not, and show the correct icon on tooltip. It's simple to do the same for shred and ravage. This will put up fairy fire no matter what form you're in. You can also use various modifier keys, but that's too much of a pain for me. With 10 slots on your primary cat action bar and 18 cat abilities, you simply have to find a way to double up some skills on the same hotkeys. This doesn't even begin to count various unused trinkets and gear. Experiment and search WoWWiki, the EJ and official forums for macros that suit you. And count yourself lucky, at least you don't have to deal with power shifting anymore. WoW Webstats, WoW Meter Online, World of Logs, all serve as central data collection hubs on the web where your raid members can analyze individual and group performance after the raid. How to use these different websites is complicated and beyond the scope of this guide, but you should at least learn how to check your SR uptime on any fights which don't require significant time away from melee range. Anything less than 90 to 95% on these types of fights means you're doing something wrong. If you want real-time feedback, you need to use an instant combat log parsing damage meter, like Recount. You're not downing bosses alone. Wiping for hours or days with people you don't care about isn't fun. Few people keep playing the same game for years and years unless they're doing it with the same people. All raiding guilds generally look for the following: proof you can do your job, drama-free, low maintenance, you don't cause trouble, you're not annoying in band, willingness to learn, knowledge of the class, spec, and rating mechanics, and the ability to back up opinions with supporting documentation or theory crafting evidence. Flexibility. If the raid doesn't happen, then your performance is moot. If you can offer to tank or heal or boomkin or log your gear at alt when needed, that'll definitely help out. You're always on time, always prepared, always flashed with the best food buff available. You always know the fight, have read up on the progression boss and watched a few videos. You never AFK during a raid unless on a scheduled break. Assuming the player is already doing near top DPS, as of patch 322, cat druids are arguably the best choice for Hysteria, doing purely physical DPS and able to stack Berserk and non-use items with it. Other classes' burst DPS cooldowns don't stack with Hysteria, or a significant portion of their damage is elemental. Realistically, the minor damage differential between you and a blood DK isn't crucial unless you're attempting content that's at the limit of what your guild can handle. You might very well see more of a DPS increase by min-maxing your professions. Keep in mind that one of your responsibilities as a raider is staying on good terms with the rest of the guild, and topping a damage meter means nothing compared to a progression boss kill. But it's still worth putting this line in your Berserk macro. Be sure to stop the spam after a raid, easily done by putting a space between the slash and the W. The push no speed can also be stacked with Hysteria or Shattering Throw. It's also possible to stack weapon enchant procs and trinket procs with Berserk, but that involves keeping track of internal cooldowns and is way too much hard work for me. If you spend $100 to acquire a second monitor, you will be able to do research or browse the internet or whatever during downtime in the game.
How you doing?
A good keyboard is also a must. I use a Bella DB video editing keyboard with big buttons and function keys spread apart in groups, good for people with big hands and fingers. The stock Apple Macintosh keyboard, for example, is a high concept design that looks great and chicks dig it, but no, not gonna work. To keep up with new developments and patches, you go to Elitist Jerks, register, log in, go to the Druid forum, open every thread that you're not interested in, click Thread Tools, click Ignore Thread, and then just visit the forum once in a while, especially a little while after patch, once the really knowledgeable people have had time to figure out the new mechanics and priorities. Post there at your own risk. You will receive infractions, and anything less than intelligent, informed, and relevant discussion is simply not tolerated.
Eat my shorts.
You just bought yourself another Saturday, mister.
The moderators there are simply put, jerks. You can also follow various blogs and websites, stop by the official forums, or just read WoW.com. Some really good feral blogs currently active are Think Tank, Flyv, and Feral Aggression.
Difficult to see. Always emotion is the future.
Being of maximum benefit to your raid in a progression raiding guild means continually striving for excellence by learning new skills, strats, techniques, gear and priorities, and how to better help your guild. Topping the damage meters is usually determined by who you raid with, the raid comp and buffs debuffs available, threat issues, the mechanics of a given fight, whether you do hard mode runs every week, and what class happens to be OP at the moment. What really matters though, is being so good that you can make up for others' mistakes. Any mistakes in this video are purely the responsibility of the author. Anything that's correct is a credit to the numerous people who have helped me out over the years. Peace out.
There ain't no night in New Orleans. There ain't no night in New Orleans. There ain't no night in New Orleans. Everybody said we gotta take a stand and tell them what the hell ain't wrong.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
To the words that we sing, now a million are singing along. We got it right, you got it wrong. We're still around. We're going up, you're going down. We're still around. No one's a count us out. Regret that they picked the fight. We sit on top of the world and we prove it here every night. We got it right, you got it wrong. We're still around.
Down!
Flex
Do
is
this
going,
shit,
I can't power.
10. 3%. Go, go, go.
I can't power, Pyro Blast coming up!